If you are not watching Heartbreak High, what are you doing with your life? Kristen here, and today we are talking about the first season of Netflix's new series, Heartbreak High. This is actually a reboot / continuation of the 1994 Australian series of the same name, which is in turn a spin-off of the 1993 Australian feature film, The Heartbreak Kid. And if you love Degrassi, Euphoria, Sex Education, Heartstopper, maybe a little bit of Awkward thrown in there, you are going to love this series. The show is a fresh look at Heartbreak High 20 years later, and the story is centered around Amerie and her best friend Harper. They have created this hookup map that they put up on the wall at school. It was kind of their own inside joke thing. Nobody knew about it. One day it gets out, and Amerie ends up going down for the whole thing and getting everybody in trouble. But while that's happening, there has been some kind of fracture in the friendship between her and Harper that has led Harper to kind of retreat into herself, kind of put up this tough girl act. And while the show navigates love, sex, and relationships and heartbreak, you also have this overarching mystery of what happened that made Harper basically cut Amerie off. So while I love teen dramas, those are my bread and butter, I will admit I was a little bit skeptical about Heartbreak High. I didn't really know much about the original franchise, and the title just sounded like it was going to be kind of cutesy, and I gotta say, I was very wrong. This show is so funny, it's edgy, it has all of the elements of what you love about a teen drama, but then that added mystery, which is really fun to follow. The casting in this show, impeccable. And not only just the casting, but also what each person represents. You have non-binary actors playing non-binary characters. You have an autistic actress playing an autistic character. You even have asexual representation that's done really well, and I feel like you don't often see that. They're telling indigenous stories. You have queer characters. You have characters of color that are the center of the story. Like, they really were tackling so much, but in a way that felt very natural and didn't feel like they were just kind of trying to force every storyline in. And every character felt authentic and realized. Even when they made mistakes, you still enjoyed following their journey and their story. I just think that they had such a fantastic cast here. Every character in the show, top-notch. With the character of Amerie, I know people have been saying they got Brittany Murphy vibes from her, but she really reminded me of Georgia from Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging. I was getting that, like, energy. The character of Darren was so much fun and really went on this heartfelt journey of, you know, starting out as a baddie and, you know, obviously staying a baddie throughout the season, but becoming more vulnerable and open to love and expressing how they truly feel. And they are also like the main connection back to the original Heartbreak High series, with the character of their dad and their boss being original cast members from that show. With the character of Quinny, I really loved how authentic the performance was, you know, having an actual autistic actress who was really, really good, and getting a chance to kind of see through her perspective and her eyes. With the character of Harper, I was a little bit unsure at first if I felt like they were the right fit for the role, but by the time their big scene came with all of these kind of mysteries unfolding and being revealed, I was like, wow. That was like an award-worthy performance. The character of Cash was intriguing to follow because he's this guy sort of caught up in two different worlds. Malachi and Dusty, they teased a lot of things that maybe could tease them going on a deeper journey, maybe diving deeper into their sexualities, or even with Malachi, exploring his indigenous background a little bit more. I think towards the end of the season, they sort of like dropped his storyline a little bit. The writing and the pacing, just hand in hand together, so well done. By the end of the first episode, I felt like I'd watched like maybe 3 episodes, because they really managed to get everything in there and move the story along. And so even though there's only 8 episodes, you really get to go through so much in these characters' lives. The way that the characters speak also just feels really authentic to the way young people speak.
Is this your 13th reason?
What?
Like, are you gonna unalive yourself?
No. Oh, I love when toxic bitches enter their floppier.
And they're not afraid to kind of like call out things and make pop culture references without it being too heavy-handed. So for instance, there's a character that we're following, Quinny, who's autistic, again played by an autistic actress, and they call out Sia.
Like, you couldn't even
I'm
look at
autistic.
me. But how did I not know? You're like really emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, okay, Sia.
You know, like, they were not afraid to go there. The show is just like genuinely funny. There's a scene where Amerie is realizing that her relationship with Harper is broken, and she's crying on this cliff to 1,000 miles, and she like chokes on a fly, and it was just hilarious. They also did a really great job of subverting expectations and stereotypes when it comes to tackling teen storylines and just storylines about, you know, men and women in general. For instance, there's a storyline about a threesome between two guys and a girl, and the girl is the one who's like, this wasn't a big deal, you know, and the guys are kind of struggling with how do they feel after the fact, and like, was this the right decision, and potentially questioning their sexuality. Whereas I feel like in other stories it would be the opposite, and I like that they didn't even make that an issue. I felt like they were really empowering women in the way that they decided to like kind of switch up the narrative in certain stories. And going off of that, the big mystery around the character of Harper, I feel like also, it's so easy to go to the place of like, did something bad happen to her? And I feel like a lot of teen stories kind of just use it as a cop-out of like, oh, okay, well, what's the worst thing that can happen to a young woman? Okay, let's just go there. They did that like 3 different times in the new Pretty Little Liars Original Sin, so I thought it was really refreshing that the mystery that they introduced doesn't go there. They do something different, a little bit outside the box. When it comes down to it, Heartbreak High is a cannot miss show. They better renew this for a second season. Please watch it so that we can get a second season, because it is so good. The representation, the characters, the storytelling, the writing, the fashion was on point. I do love that so many of the love stories were around queer, non-binary characters, people of color. That was really exciting to see. The way that you're getting this young adult story, but also a little bit of a mystery in there. This is the kind of shows that young people should be getting in 2022, and I am so glad that we have a chance to watch this and experience it. I feel like I watched it so quick. I'm like, where's season 2? I want to see more. These characters just really bring you in, and the actors are doing a phenomenal job. The writers are doing a phenomenal job. This is just one of those shows that for me was like 10s across the board. Loved every moment of it. High energy, edgy, there are stakes. Really, really, really well done. I would love to know your thoughts. Have you checked out Heartbreak High yet? Did you like it? What did you think? And if you grew up with the original one, what are your thoughts comparing them? I'm very curious. And if you haven't watched it yet, exit out of this video right now and go watch Heartbreak High, and then come back and let me know what you thought. Go, go, go! Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and if you want to talk more TV and movies with me outside of the comments section, check out my Patreon at patreon.com/kmaldo. If you like this one, you can check out more of my videos right over here. See ya!